We've all heard people say marriage is hard work. But what does that actually mean? Because when we say work, we're not talking about chores or bills or raising kids. We're actually talking about emotional work, the kind that asks us to grow up, to heal, and to show up, even when it's uncomfortable. Hi, I'm Kathleen, and I'm a relationship therapist and coach, and I help couples connect. When people come into my office and say, "We know marriage takes work," I often ask them, "What kind of work are you doing?" And usually there's a pause because no one really tells us what that work actually looks like. So let's talk about it. When conflict hits, our nervous system can take us right back to being a child, scared, defensive, wanting to be right, or desperate not to be wrong. The work in marriage is choosing not to let that child run the show. It's the effort to pause, breathe, and stay in our adult self. The part of us that can say, "I'm feeling hurt right now," instead of, "You always do this to me." The pause is not easy. It's emotional weightlifting. But every time you do it, you build the muscle of maturity and safety in your relationships. The work is also the work of healing what we bring into our relationship from the past. We all carry stories from our childhoods, our families, our past heartbreaks, and whether we realize it or not, those stories shape how we love, how we fight, and how we protect ourselves. The work is noticing when the past is in the driver's seat. Maybe your partner's tone triggers old feelings of being criticized, or their silence brings up memories of being ignored. Instead of making your partner the enemy, the work is turning inwards and asking, what is really touching me in this moment? Healing in marriage means taking responsibility for our own wounds, not asking our partner to make them disappear. So here's a personal story for you. I was married once before and divorced, and I'm repartnered now. But when I was married, I didn't actually know what the work was. I really didn't. I was triggered, I withdrew, I got lost in the stories in my head about my partner and all the ways he was disappointing me or not showing up the way I wanted. And he did the same. We were both reacting from pain instead of curiosity. I blamed, I didn't know how to be accountable yet. And when I left the marriage, someone said to me, "You didn't work hard enough on your marriage." At the time, it was the worst thing someone could have said to me. I was hurting and it felt cruel. But looking back, she was actually right. Not in the shaming way she actually meant it, but in the deeper truth of it. I hadn't yet learned what the real work was, the work of emotional maturity, healing, accountability, and openness. And that realization changed everything for me, not just how I see relationships, but how I show up in them today. There is also the work of accountability instead of blame. Blame is easy. Accountability is growth. Blame says, "You made me feel this way." Accountability says, "Something in me got activated and I want to understand it." It's humbling, it's vulnerable, and it's also freeing. Because when we take responsibility for our side of the dance, we can reclaim our power to change it. When both partners do this, the relationship becomes a space for growth instead of a courtroom. There's also the work of breaking patterns. Every couple has their loop or cycle. Maybe it's the same argument you've been having for years, the one that always ends in silence or disconnection or a big blowout fight. The work is recognizing the cycle and daring to do something different. It might mean speaking up sooner or softening instead of defending or simply saying, "Can we pause? I don't want to go down this road again. Can we come back to it when we can both speak from a place of calm?" It's not about perfection. It's about awareness and the courage to interrupt what hurts the connection. And then we've got the work of opening up when it's scary. Marriage asks us to be vulnerable again and again, to say, "I miss you," or "I'm scared you don't see me anymore," or "I need more from you and I'm afraid that might push you away." That's the real work, not walls, but bridges, not control or criticism, but openness. Because love doesn't grow in avoidance. It actually grows in honesty, compassion, and the willingness to stay curious about each other. So yes, marriage is work. Relationships are work, but it's not punishment and it's not drudgery. It's the sacred work of growing up together, of learning how to love, not just with our hearts, but with our awareness, our humility, and our courage. And when we do that work, when we each take responsibility for our own healing and growth, marriage stops being a struggle to win. It becomes a practice of becoming. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of your heart, your connection, and each other. And I'll see you next time.